Hi, guys. Welcome to Conversations in Ken's Cafe. We got a special guest with us, Brad from Cariboo Hart TV, and he's decided that he would come over and give us a hard time over here because we don't have a boff frog, okay? And he's got that on his show, and, he's going, okay, well, we got to get something over here, get some more excitement on your channel here. So, he said, "Oh yeah, I'll come over and give you a hard time." So, thanks, Brad, for coming over, man.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. This is going to be a lot of fun. We just got to meet you recently over on our channel on a Friday night. It's like, yeah, this dude's awesome. I'm a very shy person typically, so when I'm.
Can I call bullshit on that, man?
Well, no, it's true though, because the nerves and anxiety that I get, because I'm also the show booker for our stuff now. For the longest time, we had Bees, and he was the man. He was the greatest ever talent go-getter, in my opinion, because he just doesn't have the scruples, right? He'll strike up a conversation with everyone, and I'm learning and getting better at this. But it's like when you see people out there, it's like, damn, I wouldn't mind having them on at some point in time, and you're just like, What if they're not nearly as nice as they seem to be every time we see them on YouTube, right? And it's like, I always worry about nothing, man. People are awesome.
Oh, exactly. And the thing is, like, I know when I had Randy Rowe on, the guy that put together the Grow Up Conference, he says, Ken, just ask, because they can say no, but if you don't ask, you never even get a possibility of a yes, right?
Yeah, it's the worst thing they can do is say no. Is one thing I'm learning, and I find it's very rare that people actually give you dickhead or shithead answers. They if they don't want to, they'll either politely decline or they just won't even respond, which that's fine too, right? It's like, but there has been the odd kind of person that's just like, that's like, okay, well, whatever. At least you're honest, and now we know, right? I can get behind that too, I guess, but it doesn't always feel that great.
Well, yeah, like when somebody's shitting in your cornflakes, you don't exactly like it, right?
Like, yeah, I thought I was awesome up until 15 seconds ago, and now you tell me I'm not? Like, what?
I know my girlfriend says that all the time, but I mean, that was from her. I mean, I expect it, right?
Well, in between the death threats, right, from her, it's
oh, that frying pan, honey. It's just a frying pan. Don't worry. Turn around. You won't see it coming.
Oh, and mine's got a whole collection of cast irons too. She's big on the cast iron pans. And this is one of those ones where, like, I've used cast iron pans most of my life, all my bachelor years and stuff. I've had them, and but you gotta season them and deal with them properly in her way, or else. And so it's just like, to a point where I'm afraid to even go near the frying pans lest they be used on me.
Well, it's when you're camping and you're out by the creek and you're going, honey, am I allowed to use this?
Yeah.
And she's going, as long as you skin that fish, okay, you can use it.
Yeah, you do the gross work, so I don't have to. You can go gold panning.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I wanted to ask, how exactly did you get started with Cariboo Hart TV in the first place? Like, it's not something that's, a normal thing for somebody to start a YouTube channel. So what kicked you in the ass to get you started, Brad?
Dude, I didn't know anybody. I had one friend that I knew that I used to work with at a sawmill in Williams Lake, BC. He was growing and smoking weed before me and all that, and so we would kind of talk to each other, bounce ideas off each other. We're both pretty early and novice at best, I guess you could say, and swapping genetics, because there was a grow store up in his area that had he's an hour away from me that you could get genetics from. So we kind of started off that way, but to kind of like up your game and like really boost your yields and stuff like dial your shit in, I guess, to really dial your stuff in. We didn't have that knowledge, and like, this is when it's still illegal to grow, and all the people that we do know that grow, they're from the you keep your mouth shut and you don't ask questions times of the illegal days, right? So it's like, oh, how do you do this? And then I just kind of get frustrated. You go on Facebook, there's 1,000,001 cannabis grow groups or just pictures where you can post your bud porn and all that. You go on there and you try and ask innocent, honest questions like, what's wrong with my plant? It's got sores all over the leaves. What is this? Yeah. And the answer is always either CalMag or you get some jerk that just like tears the skin off you because you ask some noob question, which is, come on, man. Like I get it. I've been doing this long enough, social media, where you see the new questions and you're like, there's another one. But it takes more energy to type in some dickhead answer than it does to just kind of keep on scrolling and on to the next thing, right? But anyways, so like for about 3 years, 2-3 years, it was like, it's like, who do we learn? Who do we talk to? Then the pandemic comes. Yeah. And all of a sudden I'm sitting more at home because I had some bad physical problems with my hips going on. So I took that month that we were allowed to have off and I made the best of it. I healed up and I YouTubed the hell out of life. And I found
YouTube University.
Absolutely. And I found the Growing with Fishes podcast with Steve from Potent Ponics. And because I'd seen him on Facebook on one of the aquaponic groups in there. And I was like, there's like a weed growing podcast. I was like, this is really cool. So you start learning and they got a lot of great content in there. And then I heard about the Michigan Bro Show, kind of, I think it's like the algorithm will pop up like shows on YouTube and Michigan Bros Grow Show. And it's like, this is cool. This is like friends hanging out, smoking weed, talking about weed. I'm like, I like everything about this. And so I was like, I can do this. But my problem is I don't know anybody to do this with. My one friend that I was talking about, he sure as hell ain't gonna come on the channel and do this kind of stuff with me. Yeah. And to be honest, I don't even know if he's ever even watched an episode. I don't the podcasting into whatever different, you got your own thing. He's got his family doing his thing. And and so I was like, hey, what do I do? And I just started doing some aquaponics and was growing out in the shed, trying to get the electrical set up so I could stop running extension cords out there. A lot going on. I was like, I can film this, the processes and the successes, the failures, let's learn together. But a lot of it was like more than anything, it was just a big friendship flag. Like, hey, somebody see what I'm doing, come hang out with me kind of thing. And so I'd start off just grow room videos. I'd show a few plants here and there, talk about what was going on in the room for that week kind of thing. Yeah. And, I remember sitting there like during the live chats and stuff like that, because I would film it. The first 10, 11, 12 episodes, somewhere around there, were all pre-filmed and then edited up and then viewed. And I'd sit there in the live chats hoping that like my one or two friends that know about this, somebody would show up and hang out. Because you see dude, you see the live chats just rocking in some of these podcasts, like the Dude Grow Show and all that. Sorry, you didn't want to hear that. And like nobody would show up. It would be like just me in there. And I'm just it's a bummer, but it is what it is. We're starting fresh. We're getting there. Yeah. And then Cannabis. I discovered Cannabis and they did a Cannabis live. And at this point, there's still nobody showing up in our lives, and I'd probably get maybe a dozen views on a video over the course of however. And I kind of, once again, friendship flag, put that out there. And our brother Turpington, shout out to him. As soon as that episode was over, he reached out to me in DMs because I'd mentioned that I wanted to work with Arise Seeds from Rasta Jeff's Irie Genetics. I'd heard a lot about it, and it sounds interesting to me. He's like, dude, I've got a pack of those. I would love to send those to you. Cool. I'm like, this dude's in America. I'm in Canada. You're just gonna send me some like, we could, another thing, we could high value genetics like that or something like that. Good luck. You don't get that here. They're like, we live in a little small hillbilly community where you've got like Purple Kush, MKU, Violator Kush, and Pink Kush. There's just very few things in there, and they've all been here for 20, 30 years kind of thing. And sort of reach out, and I'm just like stunned at that generosity. And so this is around the time that Uncle Rick, he's got his own channel, Let's Be Buds, right? He'd started hanging out with me. Did you
read that? I just wanted to point that out to you, man.
Yeah.
There's one of your long-term bros, man.
Yeah, and he's one of the dudes that I remember seeing in the chats before we ever even started doing the podcast, hanging out with like Grow From Your Heart podcast and stuff like that. And you see his name getting shouted out there. So when he started showing up in our chats, it was like, wow,
Yeah.
like, you know, that like that's cool. And same with a lot of the same names. Supreme Grape, he's another one that
Yeah.
you see all around. And then, you know, then so after Rick starts hanging out, Turpington, the fellow I was just speaking about, he comes on, and this dude is just like brilliant, genius, smart, like with his cannabis knowledge. So it's like, okay, this is like we're starting to get somewhere, and gain some ground, and we're starting to get. All of a sudden, you got like 14 people in our live chats, and it's like, holy shit, yeah. Because just a few weeks ago, I had none, and I'm
Yeah.
having fun now. You know, and then we get guys like Fluffykins. He's one of our main guys on our panel there. Yeah, just kind of shooting me into DMs because he would be in there live chat and stuff. He's like, hey man, like I can bullshit like a motherfucker. Like, why don't I come hang out with you? And it's
Come
like, yeah.
on.
And that's how we added a lot of the people to our crew. It's just people from the
Yeah.
cannabis community that, hey, you want to come hang out with us? Yeah, let's all go be friends on here. And then
Cool.
so after a while, you know, the pandemic starts to slow down. People start going back to work in real life, and people start drifting away and doing their thing. And it's changed a little bit, or a lot of bit, I guess. A lot of people that were there in the early days aren't anymore. Shout out to brothers like Opie, Sticky Bob, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
doing their own thing, doing real world stuff.
Oh, you got to have a life too, right? And, you know, there's so
Yep.
many guys out there that, you know, had the time to spend and then, okay, well, I got to go back to work to earn a living. I don't have that time anymore, right?
Well, in the podcasting is time consuming. That's
Yeah.
one thing
Oh,
that I never gave any thought to before, was just in like, because we sit here for our shows are typically about 2 hours long, right? And that's what people see as the 2 hours. But what about the background work, like trying to find guests and stuff like that? Oftentimes more often than not, people are very receptive. Yeah, I'll come hang out with you guys. Absolutely. I just recently booked Wendy Kornberg, Sonobist. She'll be on next month. That's going to be a great conversation, right? And
damn right. She's a wonderful person, and her brain is like, wow.
Yeah, really. And that was one of those ones where it was funny because, like, you know, she's like, yeah, I would love to join you guys. And then you toss out a date that I was first thinking. She's like, oh, I'm busy doing this. And I think of the next one I threw, I think she was busy all that way too.
Yeah.
And then, but eventually after, you know, playing that game, where she'll be on towards the end of next month. And
can I offer you a word of advice?
Please.
It's called Calendly, and it's a booking software. It's a scheduling software. I sent you a link, and that's all you do. You set up the show, you set up the time, and then they come on and they go, oh yeah, that date's open. Oh, I'm good for that.
I actually love that idea, because when you sent me that link and I'm like, oh wow, there's a calendar here with all these dates that I can pick from. And that's easy. And then I start getting the reminders that, you know, a day out, 2 days out, that, hey, you got this coming, because I'm one of those people that I'll get tunnel visioned out and just focus what's in front of me. Everything else gets, you know.
Well, hey, 30 minutes before the show, my phone goes off to remind me. 2 hours before the show, the day before, I've got it all set up so I don't screw up and miss. And like, I'll give you my affiliate link so I can make a little bit off on the next time I buy into it. So yeah, like it's fantastic. And like, we talk about that a lot on the OG's Power Hour, because we talk a lot about business and stuff like that. But that scheduling and time blocking is so important for a podcaster, the same as it is for a grower. If you're not booking your time to go out and spend with your ladies are going to be in trouble, man.
Yeah, you gotta spend time in the garden with the ladies. Oh, that's
it's
because that's another thing, is like, so you got your day job that you got to go to, you got your garden that you got to look out for after your medicine. A lot of us have families that need our time and stuff like that, and then you still got to get your podcasting in there. So I totally understand for the people that are just got so much coming on. It takes a lot. Actually, I feel terrible a lot of times on, like, say, Friday nights. My ex-wife and I split up, so my daughter lives with her mom most of the time, and I get her Friday nights. Well, Fridays from 6 till 8, I'm doing podcasts and stuff like that, and I could be hanging out with her, and it's just like kind of, It makes me feel bad, but it is what it is. We want to be here and turn this into something. That's we've got some big ideas for the future that if we can get them to start coming around, it could be very appealing for us. So, but you gotta the consistency. This is like a job. It really is. It's a fun job.
That's an understatement. It's like 2 jobs. Okay, I spend 15 hours generally on average a day working on this channel.
See, that's some heavy work. That's absolutely. And there's we're trying to build our website at some point in time. It's kind of slowed off the concentration on that. But what I would like is, I was looking at YouTube the other day. We're coming up on 600 videos here pretty soon. I think we're at like 570 or 580, something like that.
Cool, man.
And that's a lot of content, but I would like to have it up on our website, almost like a Netflix. I hate using the Netflix comparison, but it's the only best thing I can think of at the same time, where here's all our Cariboo Hart content, and start like, it would be awesome if we could just do content creation for a living. Like I'm a utility arborist apprentice. I swing a chainsaw around for a living, and my body hurts. I'm 41, and when I think of doing this for the next 25 years, it doesn't make me too stoked. So it's like, let's do something else that we actually really enjoy doing, and like content creation, doing stuff like this, getting to meet new people is awesome.
Well, and the best thing is once you get going and you start actually going to events and stuff like that, and you get to sit down with the community and just bullshit with the guys and smoke fucking some really kick-ass weed, man.
Yeah. I got to actually make an attempt to do some studies and pay attention to what's going on out there, because one of the last times you were on our show, you had mentioned a bunch of events that I had no idea. One in Hope, BC. Dude, that's like 3.5 hours from me. I go farther than that to Abbotsford for concerts on a regular basis. So that, I got no issues driving a few hours for something like that. Or even like I'm going to miss out on Camp Canada this year because I already had something going on that weekend, unfortunately. But there's
too bad. I'm supposed to be speaking there.
See? And like it's just like, but this is bring the community together stuff in there. Like there's more events, like the one in it's Edmonton you were just talking about.
The grow up.
Yeah. Like that's I got to get out there to experience this and meet.
Are you coming down to Shea LeBlanc's event, the Unicorn Cup in the Kootenays?
When is it? I didn't even know about it, but depending on what
August. It is. It's the week before Blunts and Beans, the weekend before.
No, I'll be in Prince George for a concert up that weekend, unfortunately. But
well, hey man, it is what it is. But there's also in Vancouver, we're having Asian Moon's putting together some cannabis wrestling event, because the community in Vancouver is a little split right now, and they're gonna wrestle it out and see who wins.
I like it.
Speaking of an event, if anybody's down in Cambridge, Ontario, reach out to Green Gold Games on their website. They're having an event there, cannabis friendly. Come out, smoke your face off, and party with the community.
I feel like talking about this, I also was kind of inspired by one of the last times you were on our Friday night show hanging out, getting some sort of event going on in our area. In the very early days of the podcast, about 3 years ago, I wanted to do some sort of growers challenge, kind of a Cariboo Cup, whatever you want to call it. And a meet and greet where people can maybe set up stands and freely exchange their cannabis wares. No sales and stuff like that, because that would just come with headaches that I just don't even want to deal with, kind of thing. But maybe people can set up food stands and have vendors, because let's face it, stoners love good food and all that, and just do a lot of fun with it. And it kind of quickly got stalled out by COVID, because it's like, well, what's the point of doing anything if it's just going to get shut down? And then
exactly right.
I just recently reached out to the liquor board, liquor cannabis board agency, whatever they call themselves, get on that, and got on the callback list. And that was at work when they happened to call me back 2 days later.
It only took 2 days. Jeez, that was pretty good.
Well, actually, I was surprised. I've never had to deal with people like this. Usually, when you get put on the we'll call you back. It's like 3 or 4 hours later. So I'd actually forgotten that I'd even reached out to them, and we're at work, and I've got my
Stoner moment.
One of those, I forgot my phone in my pocket. I don't usually carry it on me when I'm running saw, but I'm swinging away, and all of a sudden I feel in my hip. I'm like, oh, what's that? And they kind of giggle because, oh, yeah, I left my phone. And you look at it, and it's the liquor board. And it's like, wow, I'm friggin' face down, ass up, chainsaw swinging, working, right? It's not a good time for a conversation. So I like the ideas of getting something going on in our area. There's a lot of good growers. It'd be cool to shine some light on them. And
and it's all about caring, sharing, and community. That I always am telling that, or saying that, and I also say, listen to many voices, and then pick the ones that resonate with you, and those are the ones you're gonna follow. So, that's where, like, I found you 2 weeks ago. I can't even. It was Blunts and Beans, actually. You had them on your show, and I'd had them on my show, or they were coming up the next day or something like that. But anyway, that's how I found you guys. And I just, was saw on the Friday night, and then you had the link there, and I'm going, well, geez, that's like Chris Guerrero. Just come on up. So I figured, oh, what the hell? Well, I'll be there tomorrow night, I would think, as well.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's great to hear. It's funny because when we started doing this podcast, like I said, it was me just doing a once a week video, about half hour, 45 minutes long, if I recall. That is, however, it edited out to, and I'd air it, I think, Sundays or Saturday mornings. And then we started doing what is now the Wake and Bake. And I think we tried it on a Saturday, but it didn't work out. Moved that to Sundays, and it's been there. But it was like, we started having fun with it. We're like, okay, well, let's add more shows. So what do we do? Like Tuesdays, let's try and have a guest show on, right? And so that's what became the Tuesday Night Toke, and how a lot of our panelists have become panel members is we have them in as a guest, and they don't go away. It's great. It works out well.
I don't know, man. Am I that qualifying as though, yeah, man, we just want this guy to go away already, man?
It's all in good fun. And
I know exactly.
But then also the Friday night, like, once again, this was all during COVID when there was no going out. We weren't allowed to go out, for Pete's sake.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So we're just like, what? And at this point, I'm almost 5 years off the alcohol. I don't drink or anything, anyways. But I love sitting here and smoking weed with my friends, and the fact that I don't have to actually go anywhere. I can sit here, get as effed up as I want, and because our podcast, we're also closer to 3, sometimes 4 hours, because we've recently in the last year or so started. Okay, we've only got so much time in our days, but it was so. And then, like, well, yeah, let's put the link in there and just and we've met a lot of really cool people that way come up and hang out. So it's one of the cooler ideas that we've had. That was it in an attempt to have like 3 different style of shows going on.
Yeah. And I like that. Make the best out of shitty times. That's what a lot of people did, and I'm glad for it. And the retractable lighter, actually, I got that from Remo Nutrients.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think it's probably on their website if you want one. So go ahead, man. But back to an event in your area. Like, I know some people that's what they do, right? So I'll have to reach out to Asia and put you two in touch, and then you guys just chop it up and see what happens, man. Like, she's a crazy girl, man. She's a crazy girl. She's the one that did put on the Mumps Cup, the mail order marijuana cup.
Okay, that sounds good. I can deal with crazy. I like crazy, so it's very well.
Yeah. She's quite the character. She did a tour in Australia, went back and forth across Australia on a cannabis tour.
Wow, that sounds
a few years back. Yeah.
See, that's something I've never got to do. I've never really traveled. I've been all over BC. That's perks of my jobs and the lines of work I've typically had throughout my life. A lot of beautiful area out there, but to go out to other countries like Amsterdam, that would be another kind of bucket list for stoners, right? Just to go see it and witness
cannabis.
Yeah.
Well, you never see this thing is, Brad, you are a cannabis influencer. I'm a cannabis influencer. Most people, though, will never do what we're doing and get up in front of the camera. They'll talk to their friends, their family, their buddies, but it takes somebody special to do what you're doing, and putting your heart into it and giving up time with your family to help others, because really that's what you're doing, because people learn when they come to your show. You have doctors on. You've got Chad Westport coming on. He's an amazing guest, man. The guy's fucking. I keep bugging him about cutting his hair, right? Because it's just so silky and long, and you can see him just sitting there brushing it. But
Well,
it's all in good fun.
I've got a bone to pick with that dude right now. I bought a pack of his Nakatomi Plaza when he put those up for sale about the end of last year. I wanted a lock of his silver hair with that. I thought it was going to come.
Yeah,
with
good luck.
What the heck?
Well, you'll have to give him a hard time. He's up I think this Tuesday, right?
I believe it is this coming Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
guys. Oh, I was just gonna make sure that I put the link up to your YouTube channel, guys. So I know we've got a lot of your chat members in our chat right now, and yeah, guys, I really appreciate that. If you're into living soils, biology, energy, just straight up gardening, you should check out some of the Living Soil or the Soil Matters podcast. I got a new one we just started. Have you ever heard of the Invisible Gardener, Andy Lopez? Don't panic, it's organic.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's been writing books for a long time. He's an old hippie, got put up on charges in the Navy, court-martialed 14 times. The guy's done enough acid. He doesn't have to take acid to get to that point. He can just flip a switch in his brain, and he feels just fucking that acid high.
Wow, I've done a lot of acid in my younger days, but I don't.
Yeah. Well, Vietnam vet, right?
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Acid and mushrooms, man. Yeah.
But I remember there was when I went from doing my heavy hallucinogen days, because where you do like acid and mushrooms both at the same time, and lots of it sometimes even. And there's and then I went to sobering. Well, not sober. I just switched to hard drugs, I guess. But there was about 3 to 4 years where I would still get tracers and stuff like that from the LSD and stuff like that without ever even taking any of it, and just yeah, he's right. We normalized some effed up stuff.
Yeah, I know. I've been on it and watched that blast off there. The gold one, right?
Dude,
maybe that should be the award for your event. Is a bunch of those, man, and have it as an actual bong. Like, there's some really amazing glass artists out there, man.
That would be badass. I would like that.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking on Instagram when I'm flipping through every once in a while, I'll see they got wrestling championship belts for trophies that you made up, like best bass fisherman or whatever like that. I was thinking something like that would be rad for a Growers Cup grow off.
Yeah, definitely, man. So I like this. Diggity Dank. Yeah, that's my new favorite show. Ken, you and Andy, we need you, him, and Leighton. I think we'd have to call that a totally different show than the gardening one, because we would go places that most people would fear to tread.
It's a good conversation, though.
Oh, well, this is a guy, and I do a show with him every week now on Wednesdays. So last night was our first episode. This is a guy that when the moon lander hit the water, and he was one of the first guys in the capsule, and one of the astronauts asked him for a fucking joint because he knew he smoked. Okay, you want to know a guy that knows what actually happened? That's Andy Lopez, man. The guy's fucking amazing. But he sees sound and he hears colors. He works with crystals, and he can send energy into a crystal mix it in water, then send you the water. You drink the water, and you get the healing because you get the resonant frequency that he's put into the crystal. Oh yeah, this guy's out there, man.
That's interesting. That could be. I wonder often about resonant frequencies and stuff like that. I'm one of those guys that's I'm a big Graham Hancock fan, the Ancient Apocalypse and stuff like that, and like how did they build the ancient pyramids and stuff like that. And I
want to know how? I know how.
Okay, let's hear it.
Resonant frequency.
See,
it's all vibration. And if you've never heard of Gerald Pollock and the fourth phase of water, Brad, you got to take the time to watch that movie. And then I had him on with Leighton Morrison and Av Singh this last Monday. But there is a charge to water molecules to a certain level. And there's an exclusion zone where they will send all of the negative or all the positive charges to the outside, keep the negative charges to the inside. Okay. That's how a red blood cell moves through your vein at the capillary level where it shouldn't be able to fit, right? Think of a maglev train. Okay. So when you tap into that particular frequency, you can lift pretty much anything you want. Look at Nikola Tesla, energy, frequency, vibration. He almost brought a freaking building down with resonant frequencies.
Yeah, well, it's cool, very cool stuff. And actually, I see my fucking hide in there, and that dude is he's the one that turned me on to the Ancient Apocalypse series. I'd known about Graham Hancock and paid a little bit, but not a lot of attention to him before that. Right, I'd read one of his books and stuff like that. Knew him a little bit, but then he's like, oh well, he's actually got a show on Netflix now, and you should go check that out. And then from there, watching that, and then finding a couple other guys. Jimmy Corsetti's another cool guy that does a lot of videos along that line of thought and stuff like that, where he figures that the lost city of Atlantis is actually in the Sahara Desert, and then lays out all his evidence for that. And I'm like, damn,
and he's got some pretty insurmountable evidence, man.
Yeah, and
it makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. And then like tells you brings you into what Plato actually said, and about how like the entrance was just covered over with mud, and man, it'd be cool to get some LiDAR going on out in the Sahara.
They have you looked at the Sahara from an overhead view where they're showing where the actual rivers are still running underground? They're still there, and if they get enough rain, then they're going to come back. But there's the one area where it's a stone house they found with drawings, and it basically describes that this wasn't the first time that area had went dry. And if you got to this point, that's when you have to pack up the tribe and head out. And it was a swing. Have you ran into that documentary yet?
No, but I want to go look for it now. This is like, hey man, I don't got to go to work tomorrow. I ain't got nothing better else to be doing. The old lady thought we were going to go to her parents for lunch, and no, I'm going to sit here and watch documentaries.
Yeah. Well, we'll start with our last Soil Matters show with Gerald Pollock, because we get right into all of the water end of it for almost 2 hours with him. Okay, now, I'm not the host on that, by the way. I just sit in the background, produce, and I just jump on and throw things out every once in a while.
Yeah, that's a good one, because I'm actually looking to up my living soil game right now. I can pull my crops steady and stuff like that, but now I'm looking to actually dial my stuff in, which means I probably got to stop being lazy and send my stuff in for soil tests, so I know what I'm actually dealing with at a certain point here. But I used to do a lot of salt growing, and I know what I used to be able to get on averages for yields, and it didn't really, some strains yield more others, but you know kind of what your baseline averages are. And I'm not quite hitting those doing my living soils and stuff. Now, one thing I kind of wonder though is I am using all new soils from like
every time
starting in December, because
Yeah.
I was dealing with thrips and had all this fully organic stuff that I'd actually made myself. Went out in the bush
Yeah.
and like pulled apart the red rotted wood out of the ground and mixed that in and throwing cow pies in, moss, went down to the creek and pulled like silt out of that. And the
Yeah.
list
You
goes on.
definitely need the silt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
getting all sorts of goodies in there. And like, that stuff was able to kill it pretty good, but it was so compact that your roots were getting too
Yeah.
overwatered and stuff like that. And,
Well,
I
here,
was able to
Silly
get,
Lily's giving you some really, really, really good advice. Check out Leighton Morrison's Horizontal Soil System.
okay.
Okay. He's actually Leighton Morrison and Av Singh do the Soil Matters. They're the hosts. He brought this system to the Regen conference, I think 5 years ago, maybe. And he was almost laughed off the stage, okay, because of how he had designed this. But what the guy does for a living is he designs soil systems, right? But he designs them on like golf course, government contracts, large scale. And so he knows how to put particular plants in areas they wouldn't normally be by just changing the soil structure and the biology. And that's the key, right? And he could put a water loving plant, or he has put a water loving plant right beside one that does not like to have its feet wet. And he's made it work with just how he's designed the soil, a little bit more sand, a little bit more clay, etc. And he put this system together, but it takes into the account the biology. So at the different level, you start with rock and sand, okay? And then you go to a mixture of silt, sand, clay, and organic material. And then you top it off with organic, right? And then you keep roots in the soil. It's a forever system. Once the biology is established, right, you've got all the different levels of biology, whether they're oxygen loving, non-oxygen loving, and the biology that moves in between, which takes the food from the plant giving it the sugars and takes it deep to that biology. It's a synergistic relationship. If you don't have that biology, okay, that earlier biology, eventually your living soil will crash. It might take 20, 30, 40 fucking years, but it will crash because think of predator prey, okay? Is, the bear going to be able to survive without any meat in the forest to eat and just had berries? You think they'd survive very long just on that? It's take the food source away, the predator dies, and the predator of that predator dies. And that's how biology works in our soil systems.
Okay. That's all. I've checked this one out. This is interesting. It's another one of those things I really like about growing cannabis or any kind of plant for that matter is there's so many different ways to do it. And like for an ADHD adult mind like myself, it's just like you want to try a little bit of everything, right? And it's
well, you got KNF yet?
Oh, and I fell right into that. And it was funny because somebody on Facebook, one of those dickhead groups I was talking about at the beginning of the show, someone in there was actually kind of mentioned, well, whatever, I can't remember what conversation was, but like said it kind of just like, if you looked into KNF and, what's that? And I Googled KNF. I didn't even know what the guy was talking about and got right into that. Before you know it, I got IMOs and FPGAs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I got an FAA that's almost 2 years old sitting upstairs. First time I opened it was on the Future Cannabis Project, just I think 2 weeks before the first year, and I hadn't opened it in like 11 months. And the guy says, "Oh well, just stir it around, break the coating, stick your finger in, and taste it." So okay, guys, it was just beautifully sweet, man, just sweet. Yeah.
There's a new guy that I've come across just last week, or might have even been on like Monday or something like that. But it is a Garden Like a Viking, his YouTube channel. Okay. And one of the first things I saw is he was doing a Jadam version of fish amino acid. And I was just like, damn, that's like, once again, that is because I think I've not really tinkered with Jadam much because I was always
Yep.
worried about smells, but I'm trying to do some outdoor stuff at the in-laws this year because they're allowed 4 plants, so let's have some fun
Yep.
out there. Right? I don't have a backyard to speak of, so it wouldn't work here. But let's try some Jadam. So let's get that bucket full of dandelions and water and let that sit.
Yeah.
Let's try this Jadam fish amino acid version where it won't really be ready until next year, but it's if you start it now, it'll be ready for next year instead of having to wait till next year type stuff. So you may as well.
Well, unless you can buy it, you got to make it, and it takes time. It's just like oh my God, what's the other one that you got to do stir every day for like 6 weeks? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank. Korean. Oh man, it's a medicine that they call it. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on it. But yeah, you got to stir it counterclockwise once a day. And at the end of it, you mix it all together, but it's like phenomenally healthy for us. It's phenomenally healthy. Yeah, OHN.
Okay.
Yeah, what's the long Oriental Herbal Nutrient? Okay, that's
See, that's one that I actually really enjoy using. I've never made it because it's so many steps to the process where I'm just like, I don't have the time for this kind of thing.
And are you home every day to stir it?
Yeah,
when you go out to the bush to work, you're not home yet.
Yeah, or you get home and you've got a show to do right away. So the plants get neglected for that day, and it's safe to say if the plants are to get neglected, you ain't stirring your OHN or
Exactly. Yeah. That's why one of the things I like about Leighton's bed, because you build a large bed. You can do pots, but you're better off to do like a 3x3 bed, put a 4x4 pan under it, because you can water this system and walk away for a week and not have to worry. I want to try mine on actually an aquaponics wash water cycling through, because with the rock and sand, you're creating an aquifer layer basically, and it becomes the ultimate sip. It just takes the water and moisture it needs, right?
Yep. Yeah, that would be cool as hell. I really enjoyed playing with the aquaponics, and as a fan of like fish and koi ponds and stuff like that, to me that was just like the perfect way to grow. When I remember at some point in time when I was in the early days of the show, before when it was still just myself, I'm pretty sure, I go into our shed where I had our basically 100-gallon horse trough sitting underneath a 4x8 flood table, and I go in there and all of my fish are bellied up on me.
Yeah.
It's like fucking damn. And some of those koi I'd had for over 6 years at that point and raised them from about that big all the way up to.
Yeah. And see, I actually cheaped out because, I used 150-gallon water feeder for the cattle, and I just bought some feeder fish. Right. So basically goldfish to feed other fish.
Yep.
And I had them for 2.5 years. Sweetest onions that you'll ever taste, and dripping with moisture out of the onion. It's just like, oh, that tastes so good.
You know what what else we'd had growing in there was aquaponic ginger, which was cool. I never got to try it because this was going on when the ex and I split up and the divorce all started happening. Yeah. But it was like just watching these big green shoots coming out of the hydrogen and stuff like that. It was just like, oh, every once in a while you dig down and just see like is the root mound of the rhizosphere growing, and it is. It's like, it's so exciting.
So what did you use? Did you use like a DWC? Were you in Hydroton?
That one was Hydroton. I had a couple different systems going on over time. And that specific one was where I cut the bottom third or whatever off a 55-gallon drum and plumbed it up with U-siphon and got it doing the flooding and draining and stuff like that. And it was like
I hate flood and drain. I hate them. Because you can never get that fucking bell siphon. It just always function. It fucks up, man. Like I started out with a 300-gallon tote. I learned from a guy called Rob Bob out of Australia.
Yeah, huge
right?
fan of his. Yeah.
Yeah. I still follow his videos all the time, man, because but anyway, yeah, I could just never get the right flow of water with the perfect bell siphon that I could build, that it would just never fuck up. Right. So, but you design your system so when it does fuck up, it doesn't flood out your fucking garage. I had mine in my garage and in my basement.
Yeah, I remember with mine, like I couldn't get the U siphon or the loop siphon. There's a couple different styles I tried. I could not get them to run. They'd run partially, but they would never do what they're supposed to actually do. And then when I finally was fucking with the U siphon, I'd stumbled forward and I just like kind of bumped the pipe ever so slightly and nudged it like that. And all of a sudden you just hear it just started sucking and draining. I was just like, are you kidding me? Just that, like, for all the swearing and cursing that went into it, it was like just accidental.
I like that, swearing and cursing. I don't know. I don't think I ever threw anything across the room, but I think it became close a couple of times, right?
Yeah, it's a bit of a pain, but it's a lot of fun, and I'm thinking about this year because what I do is for the summer at least, I'll keep a garbage can out there that I can fill with tap water and just always have an aerator in there so it'll bubble off the chlorine. And I'm thinking about sticking some feeder fish in there, like you're just saying, and getting a bit of that aquaponic bacteria and microbial life going on in there.
Yeah.
And then maybe I'll just have to bubble off some water in 5-gallon buckets before I put it in there for the fish. But I've been doing that anyways all winter long. That's what the downstairs bathroom is for at this point. That's like my brewing station. Literally, you go in there and you try to take a leak or something like that, and you've got to move buckets of Gaia Green nutrients out of the way to get to the toilet at the moment. Oh, and I think you'd actually have to pull the cloner off the toilet too at this point.
And see, I actually had a 48-foot travel van, a moving trailer, so 12-foot ceilings in the back. I cordoned off 20 feet. That was my flower room. The front where it comes up, right? It's a 10-foot or 9-foot ceiling in there, and that's where I had my veg. And then I had a work area in the middle. Works sweet, but I had a wall of Gaia Green. Okay. Did you ever hear the Rev?
I don't think so. It sounds vaguely familiar though.
Yeah, he's a writer for like High Times, and he was always preaching natural. And he actually, that's where I learned. So I actually started my soils by composting them, right, for at least 30 days to let the biology chew through the nutrients, so that it wasn't any shocking to the plant. And then I did what we call spikes around it. And so when you transplant, you do these spikes and layers. And by the time the roots reach them, the biology have coated them. And so they can't kill your plant. But the biology feeds your plant off the spike. Right? But that's how I started growing. But then I've been organic all my life since I was a fucking knee high to a grasshopper. My mom was fucking organic and into crystals and, rocks and stuff. And I grew up in this stuff.
My mom is still a Miracle Grow. That's what she knows. Her Plant Prod is another similar product that just blue crystals that you dilute in water. And that's actually what I started growing with was that Plant Prod. And I remember for the first year that I was growing, I could not get better than about maybe an ounce and a quarter off a plant, no matter what I did. That was the best I could do. And I was like, after a year, I'm like, come on, I've got to be able to do better than this. Like something's up. And so I went into our local grow store and she hooked me up with a 3-bottle hydroponic line. Innovating plant products, and from there it was a huge jump. All of a sudden, I think the very next plant I harvested using that system was like 4.5 ounces on it. It's like, okay, I see what I'm doing there. And so I fell in love. Well, not only did I fall in love with that line, I went out and bought all 12 bottles on their shelf, because if I did this with this first 3 bottles. Wow, what am I going to do with these next 12? Yippee skippy. And it wasn't much better than just the 3 would have been. Maybe some CalMag would have helped, but but that was my system for years. And then I started thinking like, no, I like the idea of organics and just regeneration, and it just makes my heart feel better. So it's slowly been moving over that way. And kind of around the time the ex and I split up, I stopped growing for quite a while. When I started growing again, we went back to the salts just because I was, well, I got to get this crop going. It's a little bit faster if you do that.
Well, yeah, exactly. And when you're using it as a medicine, like we are, you need that crop to come in. That's where Johnny B, like, he's been growing the same strain for 19 years.
That takes some dedication. That's what
that's
I'm looking
for. Medicine. That's the plant that's his medicine.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I'm looking for something that works for me that well, where I'm like, yep, this is
the right strain for your pain.
Yeah, I've found a lot of strains that I love and that I want to keep around for a while, and I do keep around for a while. But there's always, something you let them go for whatever reason. But to have that kind of relationship with that plant, I see Fluff right there. You're talking about him. He's got his Black Forest F2s that he's been playing with right now, and it sounds like he's found his medicine strain that he's working with real hard right there. So it's really cool to see what he's doing with that. It's but I'm still searching.
Yeah, and so am I. I'm actually only halfway off the doctor prescribed medication because I haven't found. But then I'm only smoking one strain. I haven't had the chance to go out and experience a lot of different things because I cooked my throat probably 25 years ago. And if I start smoking some bad shit, it just burns and I start hacking and I'll start spitting blood. And then it's not a pretty sight, man.
Wow. That's brutal. Yeah. I'm getting very hesitant to smoke weed if I don't know where it's coming from anymore. I feel like I might almost be like a midlife crisis thing. Hey, I'm 40 or at 1 or whatever now, right? So you get that. But I'm starting to think about health a lot more. And when my lungs hurt when I wake up in the morning and I got to clear my lungs, coughing, hacking for 10, 15 minutes, just clearing your lungs and stuff, that's not enjoyable. And then you think about, there's a lot of people or are places I can go to for cannabis if I run out, because I often do run out of what I'm growing. It's just a reality of life right there. And so you go for a person and I find like you buy an ounce off them and smoke that and you might not notice anything, but you go back for a second and a third ounce and you like your lungs are bugging you and irritating and stuff. Yeah. And I've stopped smoking from a few different places in the last, I'd say 2 months. And as well as I've been smoking less, making certain effort to smoke a little less too. I smoke.
I'm about a half a pack a day.
Yeah. So well, I mean cannabis. I don't smoke cigarettes.
Oh, okay. Oh, but, hold on. I'm being flagged from the sideline. Hold on. You just keep talking. Keep talking.
It's all good. Yeah. So it's like I've got a smoker's cough and I haven't had a cigarette in about, I think it's about 12 years now. So it's like, you got to do something about that. Let's be smart. I feel like I've got a daughter and that's my job to be there for her, to get her through to the adult years and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Like, when you're having respiratory issues like that already, let's
calm it down. Silly Lily wanted to point out that talk to Mr. Toad. Tony knows his shit when it comes to strains for your pain. I don't know if you've ever heard of Tony, Mr. Toad, Boneyard Seeds.
I believe you were mentioning him when you were hanging out with us. That might have been last Friday, actually.
Yeah.
At some point in time.
I got to put you guys in touch. Like, this is a guy that he's had the same mail, I think, now for 12 years. He knows his shit down to, the least little detail on where those strains started from, a decade or more ago. And he designs strains for people to fit their pain. But yeah, he's an amazing guy. So he's somebody we should get you on with, do a live with, right? And you guys talk about, the right genetics for what is right for you, because he knows, where you should go for certain types of pain.
See that's cool. I'd appreciate stuff like that because, like, once again, there's so much stuff out there to be trying, right? And you want to try it all, but unfortunately, that's just not likely thing. Like that's why I'm interested in seeing Fluff. As I was saying, he's got that Black Forest he's playing with. That's a good pain number for him. And
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I said, I swing a chainsaw around for a living. My whole left side of my body is basically shot, and so I'm interested in trying what that's got going on.
Yeah, definitely. And I got to give a shout out to 71 DPO. Every once in a while, I catch one of your episodes, man. Fantastic work, man. Keep it up. He does a lot of work on the Future Cannabis Project, a lot of on psychedelics, meditation, and stuff like that. So you guys follow him on IG, 71 DPO.
Actually, I see Noob in the comments here saying he's actually sent me Toad's Haze. So
There you go.
Yeah, so a while ago, that was, I don't know, probably 6 months ago, Noob sent me a bunch of seeds from wherever he's at. And there was some original haze seeds in there that I've been sitting on wanting to do. I'll probably do an open pollination on them. I think there's about 8 seeds in there. And that's, I don't have much for space in here for growing, so to do a whole run of haze where they could be running up to like 20 weeks and stuff like that is a scary thought. But to do a big seed increase and then maybe go hunting through and find like 1 or 2 to try and get through to that time could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like, for myself, I don't even have enough time to really be growing right now, because I'm trying to create this thing, this network, I guess now. Like Dale Rook, he's the guy that created that 65-pound joint, right? And he is going to be doing a weekly on the cannabis news and events, probably starting maybe, I don't know, probably 2 weeks from now. I think he's talking on Wednesdays.
Okay, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's just going to be, he's going to tell you the shit that's going on out there for news and events in cannabis. I'm not even sure. I think he's going to be global for events and for some stuff, but we'll have to see what happens. It's going to be his baby, but yeah, it's going to be on this channel. So
it's actually, it's very intriguing because I just right now I picture, when you think of like your news announcers and stuff and they're sitting at their desk looking all proper. I picture a stoner version of that, so it's going to be way awesomer. But yeah, let's hear about like some legalities and stuff like that, like which states are just are about to go legal or having setbacks and stuff like that. What are these big events going on and stuff like that? That's
well, like Camp Canna and the one the Green Gold Games down in Cambridge, Ontario, the thing in Vancouver that Asia Moon's putting on with the wrestling. It's these types of things, the Unicorn Cup, the Grow Up. There's other events. The Alberta Golf or Micro Associations has a golf tournament in September. So there are events, but we've got to get them out to people so that they know. So, like I would love to see you guys do an event up there, and there's guys up there that, would probably be just more than happy to fucking, get involved in that shit.
I suspect you're 100% right on that. I think as soon as the word gets out, I think you'd have a lot of people looking to lend hands possibly to the point where you'd have to try to sift out because you don't actually know a lot of these people. But you'll have the people that are there for the good intentions and trying to get the good word, the good plant out there, sort of thing.
Yeah,
Hey, let's get a little cultish with this. But you know where, and then you'll have the people
No
that are,
witches brew.
yeah,
No witches brew. Okay.
we're not drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah,
But
maybe a yucca flux though. I
yeah,
like yucca flux.
get down with that. Where was I going with that one?
Events. We were talking. Sorry.
Well,
Sorry.
yeah, no, it's all good. This is I tangent hard. I'm good at this one and just fucking it's like the Men in Black deneuralizer happened, and I've been good. I've been behaving myself and not smoking hard or anything. So
I know you're talking about the people that would reach out to you as soon as you
oh yeah,
you were going to put on an event.
Yeah, you'd have some, like a lot of people, the majority of them like great intentions and a little bit of self-promotion as well. They're really looking to get out of it, kind of thing, and we just want to see this event happen.
So what are you looking for? Are you looking for a place to do it? Or are you looking what are you looking for?
It all depends on what we can do, because it's already, I've already been told it cannot be a public event. There's no
it has to be a private event,
right? So I got to figure out that. Now I have venue that's been offered to me that's just outside 100 Mile House in Lone Butte, at the community center there. It's actually, I got married there.
Cool.
It's a pretty cool spot. In fact, it had the human foosball table set up where it's like you get in this plywood court and on these rails and play foosball as people. Funnest time ever. Stoners would love it. But anyways, like I've been told I can have that venue up there and do something there, which would be really cool there. And it'd be awesome to get some food vendors up there, because stoners love good food and stuff like that. Have some sort of growers competition where we can show off our stuff and maybe have some judging and all that and make some fun of it. But it'd also be really cool just to be able to freely exchange your cannabis wares. No sales, because that's a headache that I don't want to get into. As soon as you start selling stuff, cannabis there, you're gonna have people looking at you, and you don't want that.
Give it away.
Yeah.
I can sell you this jar for $20, but I'll just give you some cannabis. But the jar is $20.
Yeah. Get into the gray areas and stuff like that.
Well, because that is legal. You're still just gifting. It's like, I'm gonna rent you this bong in this house, and you're gonna pay me $20, but for that $20, I'll donate some weed for you here.
Yeah, that's what friends would do.
Well, exactly, and that's how you make money on like a cannabis lounge. You can't actually sell cannabis, but you can sell all the amendments that you need to consume the cannabis. Oh, you want to use a bong? Oh, well, bong's $20, and it comes with this, and it's 20 minutes, and you got to give me my bong back.
Yeah, that's cool. That's another one that we another local guy and I were talking about. And I don't like, maybe one day, years down the road, this will come to fruition. But having something like a cannabis lounge where it's basically, like a bar or a pub where you got food there and stuff like that. You go and hang out, shoot some pool or whatever like that.
The only problem is food, because if you're doing it legally through the government, you can't mix the food with the cannabis. I was talking to a guy on the Alberta Micro Association today. He's trying to put events on in Calgary, and that what he ran into. As soon as you put the food with the cannabis, they won't allow it, at least in Calgary anyway. So it's pretty much, you got to keep it 100% separate. But yeah, you got to go for, like, I think personally, for to go right, you have to go with a private members association where it's all taken right out of the government's hands. But there's a lot of twists and turns to that road.
Yeah. But anything worth doing is going to take some effort, though. If it came too easy, it probably ain't worth it in the long run.
Well, you look at Dale Rook. He wants to start his World Stoners Lounge, and he's going to make that shit happen, man, because that guy's relentless.
What is the World Stoners Lounge? Can you tell me about this?
Basically what we just talked about. Okay. A cannabis consumption area like they have in Vancouver. They have several of them in Vancouver. that you buy a membership and you go in and you rent a pipe or a spot in the building. You got a maximum capacity, but we want to take it to really high class. He's got a banner that's just, it's like something you'd see in Vegas. It's like that smoking lounge,
Nice.
right? That feel. Yeah, like he's so he wants to do it, high class, have it like downtown Edmonton, and have the execs coming in to, relax after work instead of going for to the bar, come into the cannabis lounge and actually relax.
Okay, that's awesome. You threw me off with the world there. I was like thinking, like, what do
You
do
think he's
here?
not going to go where that's the plan is like global,
Franchise
man.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. I like to hear
And like
that.
John Burfello, he wants to do the 420 live around the world. So they're probably going to link up on that end for something there. And oh yeah, man, we got big dreams around here, brah.
Oh, that's good. I like to see people pushing forward with this stuff. It's a lot
Yeah.
of
We got to get the stigma out of cannabis. And, like you're at the age where you're starting to hurt, you're realizing, like, I need this really as a medicine to have a quality of life. And it's our crowd that really, we need to reach out and touch, because our age group is starting to hurt.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
It really truly sucks.
I agree. I think
Speaking
most of our audience right now would probably agree. It sucks when you hurt.
It does. And it's like, I remember, back in the younger days, like early 20s, where you get to work and you're busting your hump, and you get the older guys standing there kind of laughing at you, telling you to slow down and all that. And you're just, and then it was right around the time I hit 35, 36. Like, and it wasn't just like one thing started to hurt. It was like everything you ever did in your life was all of a sudden back. Like what the? And it doesn't go away. Like, just some days are better than others.
Yeah, exactly. And don't twist the wrong way too fast. It hurts.
Yeah, it's like like those times where you think back and you're like, oh, fuck, mom and dad were right again. It's almost like one of those moments.
I know when I was I think in my probably my mid-20s, I actually went to mom and dad and said, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Yeah. I caused a lot of fucking shit, man.
Yeah, and then I was actually pretty younger than that. It only took me to about 18 or 19 before I kind of smartened up, because I was kicked the hell out of the house at 16 because I couldn't live by the household rules, so you can't live here, right? The short and skinny of that one. But then when you realize that all your actions do have reactions, good or bad, right? And you gotta get your ass out there and maintain. It's like, wow, mom and dad kind of were right on an awful lot of things. And
damn, oh man,
I know
they weren't supposed to be right. I was supposed to be right. Damn it!
I thought I knew everything in life.
Exactly, and twice as much as they ever could.
Oh, dude! And then I see I got a 9-year-old daughter, and I see my stubborn streak is like, I'm fairly stubborn, and I see this coming out in her, and the anger flashes and stuff like that, where it's just like, wow. There was an incident a few weeks ago where her and her best friend got in a punch up at school, and we think that they were just trying to get sent home. They are not fighters. They've never really been in fights before. I just saw where was I going with that other reason? Sorry, blanking out again here. But anyways, trying to teaching my daughter something here.
Yeah. Well, and like, it's the parent getting paid back for the shit and abuse you gave your parents, and you had a child, and now she's gonna give it back to you, bro.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck, man.
This is so when I hear about this, and like I've told her many times that if like defend yourself by all means, but don't ever let me catch you hearing about you being the one starting it. And this was and I wasn't, we were at this little aerial silk gymnastics thing that she does with her best friend. I had heard nothing about it. And her best friend's mom's just like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, what? Say what? And so we get in the car after she's done, and like, we got to have a talk. I'm not even angry. I just want to know what went on. Like,
what the hell? What?
Yeah, did you win at least? This is, you know, I don't get to hear about you scrapping here. And she clams right the fuck up, just like her old man. I ain't got shit to say to you. This is about 10:15 in the morning, and she was like, we were on our way home, and I was like, okay, I can open this clam up and we'll get her talking here. We'll park on the side of the road on the way home. We parked there for about a half hour and nothing. She's just looking down like, wow, like, but also I'm like steaming on the inside because you see yourself in there. I take her home, and okay, well, you're not going up to your room because I know you just want to go hide in your own space right now. Right. So you can just sit on the couch, no TV or whatever. I'm thinking maybe a couple hours. With noon, she'll crack by noon. And then, no, she ain't. And then it took until about 6:30 that night before she finally opened. I had to break out, well, you're not going to Megadeth if you're, because I'm not bringing some thug, because I took my kid to a Megadeth concert there a few weeks ago, right? I had to bring that on her just, and all at the same time. I just want to know what happened. So we can see, because this is
I'm being reasonable, honest, honey. I'm being reasonable. What the hell happened?
What's actually pissing me off at this point is that you won't talk to me, and I got to keep sitting here wondering all day. And then finally, she was just like, "Oh well, Brooklyn always she needs to be first into class, and I beat her into class, and I think she was upset about that." I was like, so you start punching each other in the face. I was like, oh God, you are your dad's kid, you little. Like, even if it's in fun, don't do that at school, you know, like do that at home away from where you're not going to get in trouble for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let's talk, actually, where would you like to go with the conversation, my friend?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Stoner moment.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you caught me completely unawares there, especially when I thought you were gonna take us somewhere else, and then just like, how about you as a grower, Ken? Let's haven't heard about much as you. You got your sour diesel going on. I know you're a big fan of that. How'd you get your start
going? 2.5 years. I actually started my first seeds the day cannabis went legal. I got my medical ticket that day and started 5 sour diesel seeds in my aquaponics grow. And I grew that. From that 5 seeds, I got 2 plants, and they just basically melded together over time. And I just kept, I built an air cloner, 24 bricks, so I could take 24 clones. And I grew that for 2.5 years. My last plant, she was almost 16 feet long by 8 feet wide. And I had 2 buds, one just over an ounce and one just under an ounce.
Wow, that's rocking.
And then I brought in some clones. I was searching for some stuff for a young lady that was having seizures. And the cuttings I got, when I put them into flower, the only plant that didn't get sick was my sour diesel, didn't get spider mites. And I ended up cutting it all down 2 weeks before they would have been done and burning them in my burn barrel. And I popped 5 seeds. I have 5 plants that I'm abusing in my downstairs bathroom right now because I really want to be up potted. And I'm going, no, I'm not going to up pot you yet.
That's my outdoor plants I got going on right now. They're in solo cups, just bagging. They're going yellow and getting deficiency sores on the leaves. They're like, please set us free.
I went way beyond that. Like we're talking. I popped these things last spring because I was supposed to put them out last year, and they're in 1 gallon pots. So you want to talk deficiencies, man? They don't like me, but I love them. And none of them have hermed yet. So I'm really thinking, hey, I better see how these taste.
that's a bonus right there. That's always good.
Super stress,
Get some
man.
stress,
They
yeah.
haven't earned.
I was growing this winter, and I think I figured out what it was later. But like I had like it seemed like all new genetics because I was dealing with thrips,
Mhm.
and I just
Yeah,
seemed to
yeah.
not be able to quite get rid of them. So I just had that
Mhm.
fuck it moment. We're just gonna cut everything, start fresh,
Yeah.
and from there just I'm blanking out again. Sorry, Ken. I'm not.
I don't know. Like, you need to take another dab.
Nope.
You
Wow.
know,
Oh, do I need to? Maybe. I see what I was going to say. No.
yeah.
I
It's
can
like
get one
that
rolled.
instance when I was in school and the teacher looked at me and said, "What's wrong with you today?" And it was because I wasn't stoned. I couldn't figure out my math equations. When I was stoned, no problem, man. I was right there, right? But
I've
we were
worked with
talking about growing.
I've worked with a few people that are like that actually, where they show up sober and they are an absolute train wreck.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
but as soon as they get a joint or two into them, and I've known some people that are like that with alcohol too, actually. Where they just once
They want a ribbit, but I don't have that, man. Sorry,
do
guys.
I have the ability to do that?
I think you could probably share your screen. Yeah, it's weird being on the other end, isn't it?
Are you able to play that one?
I can add it to the stream.
There we go. That makes people happy. What I should be doing, probably.
Well, see, I never had something like this on my show before or on my channel like this. So this is the rare occasion where you're gonna get a ribbit on this show, man. Cool.
Oh, that's
Okay.
fun. That's one of those things where I like that came like I remember the EO show had the dab gong or whatever it was, the dab
Yeah,
bell.
yeah.
And we kind of were looking for something like that. And then all of a sudden bees had these little wooden frogs where you take this wood thing and you stroke their back with it and it makes like a ribbit sound. So all of a sudden we had the dab frog was born, and we kind of same thing. And then before long, our brother Bud's a smoking out of South Africa. Was he's a cartoon graphic artist, and he did
Right.
up that dab frog that you see right there. Does phenomenal work. He's done a bunch of other stuff for us. The dildos that we were talking about earlier, and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
plugs. It's
Well, why don't you give him a shout out on the channel, man, to the guys that haven't seen what he does. Where can they find him?
So Bud's is smoking on Instagram. Just a solid dude. You see him in our chats all the time.
Cool.
A great grower. Every Saturday he's cooking up some kind of crazy pizzas and posting that up. And just the awesomeness of this dude is like he's over in South Africa where they're
Yeah.
doing with power outages like performed by the government. Like he was talking about they're going up to possibly, I think it was a stage 12 outage. And right now he's dealing with over 12 hours a day without power. And yet he's still churning out wicked graphic artwork like what you're seeing there. He's done work for GML and is like, man, I honestly, in a perfect world, if Cariboo Hart TV could ever take off to a point where it was a money making thing, I would pay that dude to do nothing but create graphic content for us in a perfect world where we ain't anywhere near that happening yet. But I would just, because it's fun. Like I come up with these stupid ideas. The ass chicken's another one. And he'll like, I'll just tell him and I won't give him much detail. And he'll like damn near hit the nail on the head. Like I told him, oh, yeah, we need a chicken shaking its ass because for some reason we were talking about ass chickens on our show one time and it was funny, right? And all of a sudden he comes up with just some disheveled, effed up looking chicken, and sure enough, it's shaking its butt. And I was like, damn, like that's like wow.
Yeah.
Like, and he's just an awesome dude.
Cool. Yeah. Oh man, dead air. How do you find that when you hit a span of dead air?
It's painful.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you need to start talking to cover it. Now,
Mhm.
the one thing I have noticed though is back in the early days, I used to rewatch just about every episode till probably about 30, 35 episodes in just to,
Right.
was it good? Or, oh my God, I said something stupid. Was it that bad? And one thing I'll notice is most of the times when there's people that have never been on screen, you can listen to this because this is true. Most of the times,
Mhm.
if you're up on screen and you say something that you thought was stupid, most people didn't even notice it. This is true, and you'll go back and you'll rewatch what you thought was that moment, and you'll be like, because I'm bad for calling attention to stupid stuff that I say and do, but it works with the comedy that comes with our show.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, damn, if I didn't call attention to what I just said, I don't think anybody would have noticed. So it's, yeah, no, we don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, life is too damn serious most of the time. Hey, Stony Rockefeller, long time no see, bro. But
Man, that's,
yeah, it's just that community spirit, and why why stress over the little shit? Because that's all it actually is just little shit, man.
at the end of the day, yes.
Yeah. If it don't
Yep.
kill you, hey, you had a good day, man. Okay.
Another thing I like about this community, like I like being an introvert and shy. Like I'm not a conversation starter, very rare. But if you get the conversation going with me, I can oftentimes sit there talk for hours, like we got going on right now. But just like the whole when you got stuff going on in your life, the good, they're there to congratulate you and
Yeah.
give you pats on the back and all that stuff like that. And but also when the negative stuff and you start going through hard times, the amount of people that are there and just checking in on
Yeah.
you. When I when my ex and I we split up and we started the divorce process early
Mhm.
on in the podcast days, and just kind of as we sort of almost finalized our lineup of panelists, I guess, around there. And all of a sudden, it was like your marriage is ending. You're working out of town, living in a hotel room, and it was just like, literally, what the fuck is going on? Like, I thought I had a really great life up until recently, right? But
Yeah.
all these people that just sending you DMs, you don't know me from a hole in the ground, especially in the early days of the show when we are just
Yeah.
kind of a lot of these people just seen 2 or 3 times. But hey, I heard you're going through some stuff. I just wanted to check in on you, make sure you're okay, and all that. And like it's like wow, like these people actually do care about me as a person. It's this I'm not just here as a talking head, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then another thought that I've often had is from all my pre-podcasting days or so-called real world friends throughout that whole divorce process and whatnot, I had
Yeah.
two of them call on me and check it up on me and
Mhm.
see how you doing. And I was just like, that's kind of interesting because everyone in my real world friends knew about this stuff too. So it just kind of goes. It's I feel like I find more kinship with the people in this community. And I think it takes the internet to bring us together because I think we are kind of few and far between in that, especially if you live in a small community like I do. Everybody smokes weed, so to speak, but not many
Yeah.
people fixate it and obsess on it like we do.
Mhm.
And
Well, and that's the thing, it's everybody is doing their own thing, and this community will come together and help people that, you know, I don't know, it's just when you get a deep love for this plant, especially if you're a grower, it seems that it even goes to another level when you're communicating with your plants, and you just want to share and give. Like the first thing you do when you harvest your plant and she comes out and she's cured and you just, oh, so nice, is you want to fucking share.
yeah, that's my very favorite. I call it the bag test, where you hand your bag of weed to your buddy. If they smell it and comment on it before they even open the bag, yes. But the best part is when they open that bag and the
Uh-huh.
eyeballs damn near pop out of their head, and you're just like, yeah, I scored.
Yeah, yeah,
That's yeah,
that's better than bud porn, man.
yeah, yeah. It is.
Yeah.
It's like that's the confirmation. Now, let's face it, we've smoked stuff that looks and smells like fire and stuff like that. That turns out to be lackluster, but more often than not, when you get the eyeball jaw out there,
Yeah.
you've killed it, and you know it. And it's just like, yes.
And there's sometimes you have the shittiest looking bud, but holy shit, man, wheelchair weed.
I'm actually just about to harvest in the next probably week or two Gorilla Skittles from Marnie Seed Farm. This one isn't as ugly as I'd grown this strain years ago up until the divorce days there. And that first cut that I was growing was exactly what you're saying. It was just, this stuff is just ugly, and they're small and kind of larfy-ish and stuff like that. But the smells and the flavors out of those was just absolutely unreal. And the nose on this one tells me that it should smell and hopefully taste real close to that one, because I was one of those strains where you're just like,
Yeah,
you let it go and you were bummed.
Yeah. Like I know I let my sour diesel go, but I know I can get another New York sour diesel. It'll never be the exact same plant, but I can over time get it to being close, as long as I feed it all the nutrients and let her take to the full genetic potential of that seed. You never know, man. They can produce some pretty wild shit.
Yeah. And man, the varieties of smells in this plant and tastes and flavors, like it's just, it really is so complex. Like there's growing weed on the just a growing a plant scale, but then there's when you get into the science and the cannabinoids and the terpenes, and it's just like, most people that I know and work with, they can't think past THC. They know about CBD, but that's about as much as they know about CBD. And so they go into a dispensary and they're looking for the 30% or whatever. And it's like, no, guys, that's like, and you try to explain to them the entourage effect and that and you explain to them, have you ever noticed, where I'll use like orange terps just as an example. It's the first one pops in my head. How you ever, do they ever relax your muscles and stuff like that? Because I found certain orange terps, there's a tension in between my shoulder blades that there's not even always tension there, but certain orange terps there's not even a tension there, but now there's really not tension there, or there was tension and now it's gone. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, wow. And you start talking to these guys like on that level, hey, you ever notice like this or that? And they're like, hey, yeah, but then it's like, as soon as that conversation's over, it's like Groundhog's Day again, and you got to start over fresh. And it's like,
I just got to give a shout out to Dale Rook. He just sent me a text saying, I have the original New York sour diesel. Dale, he says he's listening to the show. Why don't you jump on for a minute? Because Brad would actually like to meet you, man, just in case you got the time. If you're busy, just sit back watching the show, then don't bother, right? But you have access, so.
I don't know, that'd be cool as hell, man. Congratulations on the world's biggest joint, dude. I was seeing Instagram pictures and videos of that going on as it was going on down there. And I'm from 100 miles. So like, damn, that was only like 4 or 5 hours away from me. And it was like one of those, but I was doing probably family stuff that day and working that day too, I'd imagine. So there's probably just.
Let's see. You got to book it for next year, because supposedly he's going to be back in Vancouver next year.
You know what? Done.
You could book it now. Yeah, that's the thing. Book it now for then, and then you don't have to worry about it. It's just, hey, I can't work that day, man. I've been telling you this for the last 10 months.
Yeah, no, that won't be an issue either. That's one thing my job is always really good at. It's getting time off, as long as you give them even a few weeks notice kind of thing. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, no, I was just saying, I need to get down to some of these events. So if we're going to do something for 420, and as a stoner growing up in BC, I've kind of from a distance, like Vancouver's been putting on cannabis events since I've been in high school. And you see, they'll get written up in the newspaper. Sometimes they'll even make the news, evening news and stuff like that. And I've always been like, wow, that's so cool. So I do, if I already know there is something there, 420, it doesn't matter what it is, something's going on. That's
Yeah.
easy to make happen. And no, kid, you're not coming with us this time. Sorry. I try to bring the family anywhere. Anytime I go anywhere, I try to turn it into a family trip, because I didn't really get to go anywhere with my parents growing up. They're always busy working and just trying to put food on the table, which is, hey, fine. I had a good life, but when I just think about the time is short, and I just want to try and get, I didn't get to see my dad in the summer. He's always out in the bush working, and I don't want to be that man. I want to spend time with my family, my kid.
Yeah. You don't want to be your dad in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nothing not but respect for that guy. He's the hardest working person I know. Like I'm a third generation forestry worker, so he's number 2. And I've working with him out in the bush, watching him in his late 50s running up and down the sides of a mountain on the fire line. And while you got 20-year-old kids that are fresh out of high school, college, still in college, and they can't even come close to keeping up with this guy. And not a single one of them. It's not like most of them were back there, but you had a couple that can cut. No, like the old man goes. But but that's where that work ethic comes from too, though, right? It's
well, exactly. That's why you're on the crew that you're on. Just that we can't let you be a manager because you have a short fuse like your daughter does. Yeah.
No, it's I'm better middle management. I can run crews, but you got to have somebody above me to kind of reel me back in when need be.
Yeah. Is that like in comedy when they send out that big thing with the hook on the end of it and okay, come off that stage?
Damn near. It's because another thing is like I'm bipolar and learning to deal with that, but it's oftentimes people say something to you and you just have a really terrible reaction to it, and it's like before you even realize what's going on, you're having a bad reaction, and it just kind of takes someone to hey Brad, kind of just break that tractor beam. I love you, Fluff.
I figured that had to be directed at you, man. I figured it had to be.
It might be my fucking He is talking about copper antennas and stuff like that. So,
cool. I'm actually trying to get a couple of different people on that deal in the electromagnetism and copper and some savant, cultivator savant on Instagram. Really into like putting copper pyramids in his garden and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Do you think there's anything to the theory that maybe the pyramids were used for electricity generation on some level? Or do you think that's hogwash?
I'd say not even 100%. I'd say more like 1,000%. And there is Mr. Dale right now. Dale, I would like to introduce you to Brad. Brad, I would like to introduce you to Dale.
Cheers, man.
Nice to meet you, man.
How you doing?
To meet you. Yeah, I was sitting back there. I'm doing a whole bunch of work, working on what I'm going to be coming up to, and yeah, I was watching you guys there. I had no idea your strain was the New York City.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. I grew her for 2.5 years, man.
That's pretty sweet, man. So what are you growing there, Mr. Cariboo?
I've got a bunch of stuff on the go right now. Let's think. I'm growing and smoking on some Catahoula from Skunk VA right now. Looking and trying to nail down some fuel genetics, and I'm liking this. Then we've also got some 9-pound hammer from Jinx Proof that was kicking around. We're liking that. And a bunch of machines from Irie Genetics. We're doing a pheno hunt, looking for a male. Once again, it's a fuel-based strain that we're looking to find a good one there. So, stuff on the go.
Well, that's pretty cool, man. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
See, just to let you know, Brad, Dale's on the same level as Mr. Toad in breeding. So you can talk to him about breeding too if you want to.
Nice. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I've been trying to Right now, I'm trying to go towards getting some more shorter plants for growing intense and more of that kind of broadleaf indica varietals for that just knock you out, pain numbing sensations kind of going on. I swing a chainsaw around for a living, right? So the body hurts at the end of the day. And I'm looking at real kind of what will get rid of that for me. So that's kind of the hunt, but looking to hopefully keep it in the fuel vein of things if possible.
That's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet. See, you're looking for a short plant. See, and that's there. Do you like the pheno hunt?
Oh, I love pheno hunting.
I've got some new stuff coming out here. They're F1s right now, but it's the black crossed with my Carter Kush. So it's, man, smells delicious. Short black plants.
That
Like
sounds
really, really dark, high THC. I haven't got it tested at all yet, but it makes my nose tingle. I don't know if you guys have ever had that when you open up a bag of fucking really good weed and you take a sniff and you go, oh, my nose is tingling, man. Fucking, you know, you got something fucking sweet ass right there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it gives you that
So,
little bit of a burn right there, right at the tip of the nose.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's always my first little. It's bro science, so don't use it as an exact. Anybody who's watching, but it's an old hippie thing, right?
Yep.
Okay, there's 3 old hippies on here, and I'm not sure who's actually the oldest, but I think I qualify there. I really hate to say it.
Oh yeah, we'll throw a guarantee at that, even if it's not an age.
This is one of those ones where I think I can safely assume it's not me. I'll take it.
You're in 100 Mile House, are you?
You betcha.
Fuck, that's sweet, man.
It's not bad. I like it here. It's nice and quiet. I like quiet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I used to roll through there on a fairly regular basis, and I don't know my rig was ever that quiet, man.
Beautiful country.
Oh yeah,
it's got everything there. You can even go look for gold if you want.
Absolutely. We just last summer we followed the Cariboo Gold Rush Trail, which is that's the region of BC is Cariboo Hart. If anyone ever, if any of your viewers are wondering, it's the Cariboo part of our channel is from the Cariboo region of BC. This is where I live and where I met my now ex-wife. We were together at the time we started it, but and I'm from the Hart Highway up in Prince George, BC, so we connect the dots that way. But anyways, this area is famous for gold rush in the 1800s, and we actually followed the Gold Rush Trail all the way back to Barkerville, which at one point in time was the biggest city in Western North America, our second biggest after South San Francisco, due to the Gold Rush. Right now, it was just a great time checking out waterfalls and mountains, escapes, and stuff like that. It's one of those other things where you get your kids out there doing stuff instead of playing with tablets and staring at the idiot box and stuff like that. And just a great time. Like I don't know, man. Like I know a lot of people that travel for vacations, like going to say like Mexico or Australia, all these really cool places. And like but I've always personally, I'm just like, and sometimes I get the inkling that, yeah, that'd be really cool to check out. But at the same time, I'm like, there's so much still cool stuff to do in this province alone. I could be busy for the rest of my life and never leave this province, just seeing cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing.
I don't think it's Barkerville, right? It's Parkerville, isn't it?
No,
Barker with the B.
Yeah.
Barkerville. Yeah, that's right.
And that's a cool place, man. God, it's an old ghost town nowadays where you go in there. Actually, the best donuts I've ever had were there. I didn't realize this. We happened to be working out that way, I don't know, about a year ago, I think it was. And we were just like, oh, let's see if we can go in there and kind of walk around and do a tour. And they were just opening up for the day. And we go into the bakery to see if they have any food. And you look at their donuts. And I'm just like thinking, Oh wow, those would be great to take home with the kid. And there's probably about a dozen or 15 different kinds. And I was like, oh fuck, I'll take like 2 of everything because I'm gonna like win huge brownie points when I get home to the family later this day. And they're like, okay, the big smiling grins on their faces. They're serving me up these boxes that don't like $92. I damn near freaking choked. I was like, because I'm thinking of like Tim Hortons kind of thing, where it's like about a bucket donut, right? And it was just like, wow, I did not think that went through. Yeah, I'm in a tourist place. Of course, these donuts are going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you go in and buy an $8 cookie. You go, what did you say?
Yeah.
$8 for a cookie? I
Yeah.
don't care how fancy that looks.
Yeah, but I was the one that went in there, big dick swinging. It was like, I'll take everything, please. Everything twice. So you can't say no now, right? You just. But they were good. Like I said, they were the best donuts I've ever had, I think. So.
Yeah, yeah. So, Dale, have you ever been on a donut run where you just couldn't get the Timbits out of the window fast enough to stop the cops behind you?
No, man. You know, I can actually say I missed that bus. But I mean, I would be that guy sitting back over by the light post with his fucking Timmy's going, look at this fucking guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a paper?
How about a light?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. See, that would be me. But no. Yeah. I couldn't do things like that. That's for sure. So what the heck, man? What do you grow outside too out there or what?
I'm hoping to this year. Like I live in low income housing, and so I got my backyard's about 10 feet by 25 feet or something like that. So that's not doable. My in-laws, on the other hand, they said they'll let me do a few plants out there, which should be pretty awesome because they were allowed our 4 plants out here. So why not? The father-in-law, he likes to smoke a lot of weed. He used to grow back in, I think it was the illegal days, but I think it was too much of a time consumption thing, and he was told no. So I'll bring out 4 plants, and here you go, and I'll give me a chance to play around and try some stuff because I that's what I want to be doing. I would love to be able to. Like I said, low income housing, so you can imagine what I'm dealing with for grow spaces, right? I basically got the equivalent of a couple 4x4 tents to try and provide medicine for myself and my girlfriend, and we're both heavy consumers. So we go through a lot, and it's so to be able to do a couple outdoor plants and be able to put away possibly a couple pounds for the winter, that would be huge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
So I've got I think it's 4 there's 2 phenos, but 4 plants of this watermelon caper from Jinx Proof that we're gonna throw outdoors. Something that I've run it indoors a couple of times. It's good, but not great. And see what that does. And then there's a couple creek beds that I have in mind in the area where I'm just gonna go and plug a few clones into the soil, see what happens. Or something like if I come back in a month or two and it's looking like okay, there might be something viable in another month or two. Excellent. And then other than that, also one of my favorites though is planting seeds and clones and stuff like that in the public places. So that like in the like a lot of cities will have like their flower beds on the side of the roads and stuff like that.
So I'm gonna Caribou, I'm gonna just throw a really wild guess out there and say Ken's never told you about my suckers.
No, I don't think he has. I'd love to hear about him though.
Well, and here's the thing: when you say planting seeds in public, you see what it is I call them the fuck stick is what they are. Spelt PHQ though, right? Like my name, my genetic company, right? But anyways, there's half a gram of hash at the end of the stick. It's encased in THC candies. In the stem, there's seeds. Now, when you can eat the candy, smoke the hash, or eat the hash, whatever you want to do, but you take the stick and you put it in the ground. right afterwards. And now that stick is going to absorb all that water, and those seeds will germinate, man.
I like it.
Yep.
That's solid. One of my problems that I have is like, because what I'll do is I got my random seed jar coming around, right? I fancy myself a bit of a pollen chucker. So you end up with a whole bunch of seeds you don't want. And those are the ones I'll just broadcast. And I find there's low germination rates for that. But you're trying to be in a hurry. You're trying to be discreet in a public place. You start scraping around the dirt. People start looking at you.
Mhm.
What the fuck's that homeless guy looking dude fucking doing? Look at the beard, right? And so you try.
We all
So
got beards, man. Okay. So
So
Dale, do you get Lily's message?
where's that? Oh,
We were Brad. I was talking about the World Stoners Lounge. Meet the World Stoners Lounge, by the way.
Oh.
Pleased to meet you.
Well,
So yeah, Dick or Ken was going over your idea there for cannabis consumption lounge there a little bit earlier. That sounds like a cool idea, especially if you franchise that and start branching that out, man. I like to hear about right now, like since it's so hard for us to have public functions, at least in British Columbia. It's hard for us to get together like-minded people. Like it's really easy Zoom meetings, StreamYard, etc. We have our awesome live chat folks hanging out. It's still not the same as physically passing you a joint and looking. I'm a big handshake person, and being able to actually shoot this shit together. So
yeah.
and having that idea of having kind of like a local, like where you just go down and or can maybe shoot some pool or hang out, and it's I love the idea.
Do you remember the old arcade
Mhm.
days?
Yes.
Okay, because that's what I used to do, and that's where I smoked most of my weed was down at the arcade.
I remember getting busted with weed at the arcade when I was in like grade 8, I think it was, where this Family Fun Center in Prince George, BC, it was called. And we're not this girl that I went through elementary school, but she went to a different high school. Kind of, how that is. We reconnect, and I was buying joints off her, and I just knew it was going to be death weed. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm excited for this just at hearing about it, right? There was no strain names back then. It was just good weed and bad weed, right? Kind of thing. And so we get in there, and they're all rolled up already for me in a pack of Players Light cigarettes, I think it was. And we're like, well, let's go outside and burn one. And I pull out my pack of cigarettes, and they're supposedly in this joint. And there's security guards like right there. Now, this is almost 30 years ago. So of course, it's illegal then. And the security goes, oh, what's that? And grabs it out of my hand before I had even time to react and holds it up to his face. And he's just like, you're banned. And my first thought is, oh my God, my parents are going to beat my fucking ass when I get home for this. Like, start freaking out and put the cigarettes or those joints fucking just in a cigarette pack in my pocket so we wouldn't see those. He escorts us out, and he actually let us just go. I was just like, oh my God, almost like hyperventilating out of the fact that I wasn't going to get beat by one, because it was allowed to beat your kids back in those days too, right? And I was like, I just like feel like I totally just got away with one there. And of course, when you're back there like the next day, you're like one of a million kids. It's not like they took your picture or on a Polaroid or whatever and put that up on. Hey, these kids are not allowed back here. No, it's good times.
Yeah. See,
Stony
Yeah,
Rockefeller. We had teen centers like in Dazed and Confused, because I'm from that era. Laugh out loud, and I think Dale and I are from that era too.
yeah, I am for sure. We all had that smoke pit out in back 40.
Yeah.
Where we'd all go to. Because I remember when I first got to high school was the year they banned smoking from inside. The ashtrays were still in the hallways, right? And you were allowed to smoke outside the doors, so you just smoked the joint outside the door, right? Now you have to you can't even be on the property. So,
I was going to school, and it was like my grade 8 or 9 year where they moved it from you weren't allowed to smoke anywhere near the school. You had to be a certain distance. So it was like kind of out in the parking lot area. That was okay. And then the next year was like, you can't be on the property. So we literally just crossed the road and smoked there. And then our friends, there's a building just on the other side of the street from the school. So they opened up a little mini arcade there. There's a couple pool tables and a few games and stuff like that. So now all of a sudden that's the smokers hangout for joints and cigarettes. And they worked okay for a little bit. But then all of a sudden the school starts getting pissed off that the kids are having a good time, or that's how we looked at it, right?
Yeah.
Like, we weren't bugging anyone. Like, that was a good common area where kids were going, yeah, they're smoking cigarettes a little bit closer to school than you'd like. We're not on the property, not even on the same side of the road. And nobody ever fought there because, Kurt, the guy that his parents owned it, he was a big dude, and he would whoop your ass if you fuck up around his parents' place. But there's nobody looking for that kind of aggression. Everybody was just having a good time. There's video games, there's pool. Maybe you played, maybe you didn't, but there was, but when they moved it from there, and all of a sudden you're going up to the end of the road, I was in multiple fights up there myself personally, and it seemed like every lunch break there was fights going on up there. So, like, I don't know, like, you got the cigarettes a little farther and the joints farther away from your school, but did you really win anything, really? Because this got a lot more violent and chaotic from what I was seeing.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot less supervision for sure, because all kids need structure, right?
Absolutely. Well, that's would be actually another really good point for why no fights and stuff like over there is because, there's adults there running the place. And I fired, there was also, you'd have your school worker people out hang out on lunch hour, walking up and around the road and also making sure. So, yeah, there's people there. But now we're up in the bush. Now we're in the perfect hell raising zone.
And you didn't raise hell. No, you wouldn't have done that, man.
I remember one time we were sitting there. There's this, like, you go down, there's a big, I think it was like a pipeline and big flat plowed down to the ground area. No grass or anything like that really growing down here. It's from Meridian, so you couldn't drive down there. But there's this little trail that went around the Meridians that you could, like, take a quad in or whatever. We're in there smoking joints, and all of a sudden I see someone kind of walking, and you think it's just someone coming to smoke some weed with you at first. And you're kind of like, oh, hey. And I noticed, like, some straight with the, like, creased pants down the front like that. Like, oh, principal. And then I noticed, like, the high-vis stripe down the back, and you're like, oh, cop. And all this is, like, have all three of these thoughts in about within a second. Turn around, start running, and yell at cops and stuff like that. Down into the bush, got away. Fucking no issues like that. We just skipped for the rest of the day. Our buddies, they went out and ran straight back to the school and, like, right into more cops because you guys smell like weed. You were just out there smoking weed and stuff like that. It was just like, wow, yeah, no, you don't go straight back to school after that. Like, that's no.
Oh yeah. So I don't know. I'm going to run this just for the haha guys and give me your guys' opinion. Hold on here. Lit Candle Promotions live stream of Grow Up Conference Edmonton, Alberta. Live interviews with speakers and vendors with 2 interview locations. Location 1, the Cannabis Consumption Lounge, sponsored by the amazing folks at Bovita, your best choice for humidity control. Location number 2, in the hall with the vendors at the Grow Up Conference, industry's #1 event choice for coming together. Our hosts, John Burfellow, Dale Rook, Mr. Toad, Ken Somerville, Leighton Morrison, Dr. Av Singh, and watch out for our surprise hosts. So what do you guys think?
That's awesome. I like it.
Not bad. Not bad at all, man.
You'll get good response to that. If I would have done it, you would have had, like, dildos and shit popping out of it. And you probably wouldn't have got the response you're looking for. You would have had probably a lot of people just going, yeah, no, we're not dealing with these people. So I like it.
I kind of appreciate that view myself as well.
Yeah, mine all come gift wrapped with a lot of F-bombs. So there we go, right? So
Yeah.
It was very professional. It's funny because I really enjoy doing the video editing. It's one of those things where there's not a lot of stuff that can actually sit me down and focus for 8 to 16 hour day. And somehow I can do that on video editing. And it's, I enjoy it. And it's learning to branch out and do different styles. of editing, because it's, you start off making a quick intro video and all you're trying to do is a different image every second to 2 seconds kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's fairly easy and basic. And now, just actually yesterday, I figured out how to take a green screen image, get rid of that, so you can overlay it over top of whatever background you want. I was just like, wow, now this is going to be a fun. So Fluff, he's still in the live chat there. I think him and I yesterday, we went and got we ordered up some green screens so
Cool.
we can play
That's
around.
what Dale's using.
Yeah. Here, let me say hello.
Nice. I like that.
Well, and Dale's going to have a new show coming out. I was talking about that earlier too. Cannabis news and event, and I'm not exactly even sure what Dale's going to do. So, Dale, can you give anybody a sneak, idea of what your plans are?
Should I do that? Should I? Should I tell anybody? Should I just keep it a secret? It's
let's hit some thumbs up. Let's hit some thumbs up. I see we got 30 thumbs up in the chat there. Come on, let's get it up to 50 thumbs up, 50 likes, and then maybe we can get it going on here. How's that?
No, it's okay. Yeah, all basically what I'm doing is
hold on, Dale. Hold on. This is marketing at its finest, Dale. I mean, come on. And you're going, oh no, that's okay. No. Like I'm not even looking because I don't have another channel open, but where are we with the thumbs up? Can we get, a couple more?
We got 31. We're up to 31.
Oh, well, there you go. So I think we're doing pretty good. So sorry, Dale, go ahead.
All right. Well, basically all I'm going to be doing is discussing all the cannabis news that's current as much as possible, and every event that I can possibly get a hold of to show everyone. There are many of these events out there that you could go to, learn a lot, meet a lot of cool people, see a lot of cool things. I'll be going to most of them myself, so it'll be on location quite a bit. Starting with the expo in Edmonton there.
We grow up. You forgot the name. Yeah, the grow up. Yeah, that one.
Well, sorry, man. I smoke good pot too, right? So bear with me.
I've had the mind go blank at least 2 or 3 times since we've been doing this show, and it's like, hey, we're gonna have to talk about something different now because I don't remember what we were just talking about.
Yeah. Well, I got a very busy schedule this year, man. We got Cannabis Day coming up. We got Stampede coming up. Then I got the Unicorn Cup coming up in August.
Camp Canna
at the end of August. Then I've got Las Vegas in October. There's something in September too, but at this moment I can't recall what it would be. And that Vegas one is a huge one, man. That's going to be a joint that nobody will forget. Ever.
Did we just let the cat out of the bag on that one, Dale?
I never said nothing about what it's going to look like.
Dude.
Oh, okay. That's true. There's a Vegas event coming.
Do we have any kind of goal intended for how big it's going to be?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We're willing
to think big, okay? Are you thinking big right now? And remember, I've rolled a 65-pounder, so think big.
Well, this is why I'm asking, because I'm curious, because I was watching the clips of that thing on Instagram as it was going on. I remember, my biggest joint I've ever been a part of was probably about 2 pounds. And trying to get air to draw from the cherry all the way to the back end of that joint and using a 2-liter so you could suck through it, right? Mm-hmm. Was half the battle. And I was thinking, how are they? And then when I saw the video of the leaf blower, I was like, oh, that's just genius right there. That was awesome.
Oh, man, I engineered the crap out of it so that it could. And we burnt it for an hour and a half before I stopped it. But I stopped it more because I wanted to have a substantial amount to donate to the the cannabis substitution program. They give out free cannabis to opioid addicts in recovery. So
Cool.
we gave them approximately 25 to 30 pounds, something in between there. I can't give you an exact measurement of how much because, well, we just stopped it, right? But like, let me put you this way. Las Vegas is going to be big enough that it's hard pressed putting most of it, all of it, in the back of a pickup. Well, I guess you could just throw a tarp over it like everybody else, but it's going to be a pretty big load in the back of a pickup. I'll tell you that fucking much. That's how much cannabis.
I can't wait to see this. This is like, this is the kind of stuff that dreams are made of right there. I'll be
Well,
like, you know, like people will be like going to sleep counting like lambs jumping over the fence stuff. I'll be like counting bales getting thrown in the back of Dale's truck.
yeah. Well, perhaps when we're off the air, I'll explain to you what's going to happen because it'll blow your flipping mind, man. But I'm going to tell you something. How about I tell you this? Las Vegas, although it's going to be as big as it is, Vancouver 420 2024 will be even, well, half as much more. So when you find out how much that is, you're going to go, what the frig? And then on top of that, who's confirmed already? I haven't announced this event yet. It will be announced in 2 more weeks. Well, 2.5 weeks actually. But I'm going to tell you, people are going to come from all over the place and plan their vacation to this event.
Very cool.
You won't want to miss this one. So this is going to be something. And who's going to show up? You're going to be flipping floored. So, I mean,
I better stop you there, Dale. Just you're getting a little too close to the edge, you know.
oh shit, no way.
Yeah.
I haven't said
Anyway,
nothing.
we're at 2 hours anyway, guys. So we're gonna jump into the back and we'll discuss this in the back end, guys. But I love my audience, but you're just gonna have to get backstage passes to the grow up one of these days, and then we'll talk. Anyway, guys, peace out, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.